Listen, before this video goes any further, you need to hear this. Right now, in your pocket, in your car, in that old jar of coins sitting in your house, there could be a hidden treasure worth serious money. I'm talking about ordinary-looking Roosevelt dimes and wheat pennies that people spend every single day without even thinking. But secret collectors know the truth. Some of these rare US coins are quietly selling for life-changing cash at auctions. Yes, we're talking big money coins, silent fortunes hiding in plain sight. These dirty old coins, they might look normal, but some tiny detail makes them explode in value, and collectors are literally fighting to get them. So listen carefully. Do not spend these coins. Check your pocket right now. Check your coin jars. Check everywhere. Because in this video, we're revealing the top 5 most valuable ultra-rare Roosevelt dimes and wheat pennies, and every single coin gets rarer, more shocking, and worth even more money as we go. Stay with me till the end, because the last coin in this video is a real auction shock that nobody talks about. And if you miss it, you could accidentally spend a quiet fortune without even knowing it. First, coin number 1. Now let's start with the coin that most people would never think twice about. But collectors know this one is special. Picture this. You're at a store, you get a dime back in change. Maybe it looks a little older, maybe a little gray, with soft waves of age across the surface. Most people would toss it in their pocket and forget it forever. But if that coin happens to be a 1951 Roosevelt dime with a D mint mark, you might be holding something far more powerful than 10 cents. You might be holding a silent fortune. The year 1951 was a tense time in American history. The United States was deep into the early years of the Cold War, and the Korean War was putting pressure on the economy. Factories were busy, metals were moving through the system quickly, and the U.S. Mint was pushing hard to keep coins flowing into circulation. When mints are under pressure like that, tiny irregularities happen. Small differences appear. Details shift. And sometimes, those tiny differences create coins that collectors chase for generations. The Denver Mint, marked with that small but powerful D mint mark, produced millions of Roosevelt dimes that year. On the surface, they all looked the same. The familiar face of Franklin D. Roosevelt on the front, calm and steady, honoring the president whose leadership carried the country through the Great Depression and World War II. On the reverse, the proud torch of liberty standing tall, with olive and oak branches spreading out beside it, symbols of peace and strength. A design simple enough to overlook, but powerful enough that collectors know every tiny curve of it by heart. Now imagine holding one of these coins in your hand. The metal feels cool and dense. This dime was struck in the classic silver composition used at the time, about 90% silver blended with copper for strength. It weighs just over 2 grams, small in diameter, thin enough to disappear in your pocket, yet it carries a quiet presence. Coins from this era have a sound and a feel modern coins just don't have. And when a 1951 with D-dime survives with its natural surfaces untouched, collectors instantly pay attention. Because survival is the real story here. Back in the 1950s, nobody treated dimes like treasure. They were spent, dropped, scraped across counters, rattled through vending machines. Most were worn down over decades. Some were melted when silver prices rose. Others were cleaned by people who thought they were improving the coin, which actually destroys collector value instantly. That's why a fine condition 1951 with D. Roosevelt dime with natural gray waves and original toning is something special. That soft gray look you sometimes see, that's not dirt. That's decades of natural aging in the metal. Collectors call it toning, and when it forms naturally, it becomes a beautiful fingerprint of time. Once someone scrubs or polishes that away, the magic is gone forever. So listen carefully. Never clean this coin. Not with cloth, not with chemicals, not with anything. Cleaning wipes away history and slashes value immediately. Original surfaces are everything in the rare coin world. Another tiny detail collectors obsess over is that mint mark. Look just to the lower area of the coin's reverse, near the base of the torch. That little D tells you the coin was born in Denver. But not every 1,951D dime survived the same way. Some were struck under slightly different pressure, creating subtle differences in the details of Roosevelt's hair, the torch lines, and the sharpness of the lettering. Those tiny details may look invisible to most people, but to collectors, they change everything. And here's where things get intense. When a beautifully preserved example appears at auction, the room goes quiet. Experienced collectors lean forward. Phones come out. Bidding starts slow, then suddenly jumps. Because they know coins like this don't appear often, and the best ones rarely change hands. Many serious collectors hold them tightly for decades, waiting for the right moment. That's why today, the market value for a rare, beautifully preserved 1,951 with D. Roosevelt dime can reach around $270,000. Yes, a tiny dime that most people would casually spend without thinking can secretly represent life-changing wealth. This is not fiction. This is happening in the rare coin world right now. So if you ever see a 1,951 dime with that Denver mint mark, stop immediately. Look closely at the surfaces. Look at the color. Look at the details. If it has that untouched antique look, soft gray waves of toning, and honest circulation wear, without damage, do not spend this coin. Put it somewhere safe. Handle it carefully by the edges. And if you think you may have something special, the smartest move is professional grading. Experts can authenticate the coin and protect it in a sealed holder so its originality is preserved forever. And remember, patience is golden in the coin world. The biggest collectors don't rush. They wait. They protect their coins. And they know the difference between a normal dime and a hidden treasure. But here's the thing. As rare as this Roosevelt dime is, the next coin on our list is even more dangerous to ignore. Because the next one looks even more ordinary. Yet collectors are willing to pay shocking amounts to get it. And the tiny detail that makes it valuable, most people never even notice it. Next coin number 2. Now imagine this for a second. You reach into your pocket, pull out a handful of pennies, and one of them looks old. Brown, maybe a little darker than the others. You almost toss it back without even looking, because to most people, a penny is just a penny. But what if that tiny copper coin, hiding between modern cents, is actually a 1,935 wheat penny with an S mint mark? A coin that collectors quietly chase like buried treasure? What if that one simple penny is not pocket change at all, but a silent fortune hiding in plain sight? This is exactly the kind of coin people lose every single day. Back in 1935, America was still struggling through the long shadow of the Great Depression. Families were counting every penny, businesses were fighting to survive. And the U.S. Mint was working hard to keep coins flowing through the economy. Money moved constantly through hands, shops, factories, and banks. Pennies were essential. They were used for everything from bread to bus fares. Nobody at the time imagined that one of those ordinary cents could someday become a hidden treasure coin worth serious money. And that's where the San Francisco Mint enters the story. Coins struck there carry a small but powerful mark, the tiny S mint mark. It sits quietly beneath the date side of the coin, a detail so small that millions of people never notice it. But collectors, they search for it obsessively. Because San Francisco coins from the 1930s often came from smaller production runs, struck during years when the economy and minting conditions were constantly shifting. The 1935 with S wheat penny was born in that uncertain environment. Picture the coin itself in your hand. The design is instantly recognizable to collectors. On the front, the calm profile of Abraham Lincoln, the first real historical figure ever placed on a circulating U.S. coin. His portrait faces right, strong and thoughtful, with the date 1935 resting just beside him. Around him are the words, "In God we trust," above, and liberty to the side details that might look ordinary until you realize this design has survived in American pockets for more than a century. Flip the coin over, and you see the famous two wheat stalks stretching upward along the sides, framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. That wheat design gave the coin its legendary nickname, the wheat penny, and collectors instantly recognize it as a symbol of early American coinage. But the real magic is in the metal itself. This penny was struck from a rich bronze composition, mostly copper, blended with small amounts of tin and zinc. When new, the coin would have glowed with a bright red copper shine. But decades of time transformed that color into deeper shades, warm brown, chocolate tones, sometimes even hints of red hiding in protected areas. That aged look is not damage. It's history. When you hold a very fine condition 1935 S wheat penny, the coin still has strong details. Lincoln's hair shows texture. The wheat stalks on the reverse remain sharp and proud. The lettering stands clear. You can still feel the coin's presence, about 3.11 grams in weight, roughly 19 millimeters across, and thin enough to slide into any pocket without notice. Small, humble, yet powerful. And that's exactly why so many of these coins disappeared. Pennies were spent constantly. They passed through millions of hands, wore down in drawers, rolled through banks, and sometimes sat forgotten in jars for decades. Others were cleaned by well-meaning owners, trying to make them shiny again. But in the collector world, cleaning is one of the worst mistakes possible. Listen carefully to this because it matters. Never clean this coin. Cleaning removes the natural surface, the delicate toning, the microscopic texture that proves the coin has aged honestly. Once that original surface is gone, the value can collapse instantly. A naturally aged wheat penny is beautiful to collectors. A scrubbed one becomes a damaged coin. Originality is everything. That's why surviving examples of the 1935 S wheat penny with natural brown surfaces and strong details have become incredibly desirable. Collectors study every tiny element. The exact placement of the mint mark, the sharpness of Lincoln's beard, the clarity of the wheat lines on the reverse. Even the color of the toning can influence how collectors react. And when a truly exceptional piece appears, the atmosphere changes. Auction rooms grow quiet. Experienced buyers watch closely. Bidding starts slowly, then climbs in sudden jumps. Some collectors have been waiting years to add the right example to their collection, and when the moment comes, they don't hesitate. Because they know opportunities like that may not appear again for a long time. That's why a rare, beautifully preserved 1935 with S wheat penny can command astonishing attention in the collector world. In the right condition, with original surfaces and strong detail, its market value has reached around $495,000. Yes, nearly $500,000 for a single penny. That tiny coin people toss into tip jars, leave in parking lots, or forget in couch cushions can secretly hold life-changing wealth. A quiet copper disc hiding a fortune that most people never even notice. So if you ever see a 1,935 penny, stop immediately and look for that S-mint mark. Study the surfaces carefully. Look for natural color, not bright artificial shine. If the coin has that antique brown look and strong details, do not spend this coin. Handle it gently by the edges. Store it safely. And if you believe you found a real survivor, professional grading can protect and authenticate it. Serious collectors trust graded coins because they confirm the coin's originality and condition. And remember something important in the coin world: patience creates wealth. The rarest coins are often discovered quietly, sitting unnoticed in jars, boxes, and pocket change. This is not fiction. These hidden treasure coins are still out there, moving through circulation, waiting for someone observant enough to notice them. But as shocking as this penny is, the next coin on our list is even more unbelievable. Because the next one looks almost identical to thousands of other coins. Yet one microscopic detail turns it into a big money coin collectors are desperate to find. And when you see what that detail is, you'll understand why people are accidentally spending a silent fortune without even realizing it. Next coin, number 3. Now here's where things start getting really dangerous. Because the next coin on this list is one people overlook every single day. I'm serious. This coin has probably passed through millions of pockets, cash registers, vending machines, and coin jars. And almost nobody stopped to look at it twice. But hidden among those ordinary pennies is a coin that collectors quietly chase like buried gold. I'm talking about the 1,953 wheat penny with the D mint mark. And if you ever spot this one in your change, you need to stop immediately, because this tiny copper coin could be a hidden treasure worth serious money. Think about the year 1953 for a moment. America was stepping into a new era. The Korean War had just ended. The country was shifting into a powerful economic boom, and industries were moving fast. Factories were producing everything from cars to appliances, and the U.S. Mint was under pressure to keep coins moving through the system. Money had to flow quickly because the economy was expanding. When the mint works under that kind of speed and pressure, tiny variations appear in coin production, and sometimes those variations create coins collectors become obsessed with. The Denver Mint, identified by the small D mint mark, was producing massive numbers of coins during this time. But even with large production, not every coin came out exactly the same. Differences in striking pressure, die wear, and metal flow created subtle variations that collectors now hunt for like detectives. And the 1,953 with D wheat penny became one of those coins that hides incredible value behind a very ordinary appearance. Picture the coin itself. On the front, you see the familiar and powerful portrait of Abraham Lincoln, facing right with that calm, thoughtful expression collectors know so well. Above his head sits the phrase, "In God we trust." To the left is the proud word, liberty, and beside Lincoln's profile sits the date 1953, marking the moment this coin entered American circulation more than 70 years ago. Now flip it over. The reverse shows the iconic 2 wheat stalks rising along both sides of the coin, framing the bold words, 1 cent and United States of America. That wheat design gave these coins their famous nickname, the wheat penny, and collectors can instantly recognize it from across a room. At the very bottom sits the phrase, E pluribus unum, quietly reminding us of the unity of the nation. But what really makes this coin special isn't just the design. It's the metal, the feel, the survival. This penny was struck in the classic bronze alloy used for American cents, at the time mostly copper, blended with small amounts of tin and zinc. When freshly minted, the coin would have glowed with a fiery red shine. But over decades of circulation and storage, that bright color slowly transforms. Air, time, and touch change the surface into warm shades of red-brown and deep chocolate tones. Collectors love that transformation. When a very fine condition 1953 with D wheat penny survives with natural aging, you'll see beautiful antique surfaces, smooth brown color with hints of copper warmth hiding around the protected areas of the design. Lincoln's hair still shows texture, the wheat stalks remain defined, and the lettering stays strong. The coin feels solid in your hand, weighing about 3.11 grams, measuring roughly 19 millimeters across, and only about 1.5 millimeters thick. Small, simple, easy to overlook, which is exactly why so many people accidentally spend them. And here's the real reason survival is rare. Pennies were never treated like collectibles. They were tossed into jars, dragged across counters, stacked in rolls, and forgotten in drawers. Over the years, many were worn smooth. Others were damaged. Some were melted during periods when copper prices rose. And sadly, countless coins were destroyed by one simple mistake: cleaning. This is one of the most important warnings you will ever hear in the coin world. Never clean this coin. Not with water, not with polish, not with a cloth. Cleaning strips away the original surface and erases the natural toning that collectors value. Once that original skin of the coin is gone, the value can collapse instantly. A naturally aged wheat penny tells a story. A cleaned coin looks artificial and damaged to serious collectors. Originality is everything. That's why collectors inspect every tiny detail on coins like the 1953 with D wheat penny. They look closely at the mint mark. They study the sharpness of Lincoln's portrait. They examine the wheat lines on the reverse. Even the color of the copper toning can affect how valuable the coin becomes. And when the right coin appears, something fascinating happens. Auctions grow tense. Experienced buyers sit quietly, watching every move. Bidding starts slowly, then suddenly jumps. Collectors know coins like this don't show up often in strong condition, and many of them plan for years to secure the right example. Some buy them and lock them away for decades, waiting for the market to grow even stronger. Because the demand for rare wheat pennies continues to rise, while the number of surviving coins keeps shrinking. That's exactly why the 1953 with D wheat penny, when preserved in exceptional condition with original surfaces, has stunned the collector world with a market value reaching around $235,000. Yes, a single penny that most people would throw into a parking meter can secretly represent life-changing wealth. A quiet copper coin, hiding a silent fortune that almost nobody notices. So if you ever see a 1953 penny, don't ignore it. Look closely for the D mint mark beneath the date. Study the surfaces. If the coin has natural brown color, strong details, and honest wear without damage, stop immediately. Do not spend this coin. Hold it carefully by the edges. Store it somewhere safe. And if you believe you found a genuine survivor, professional grading is the smartest move. Authentication protects the coin, confirms its condition, and gives collectors the confidence to pay serious money. Remember, the biggest fortunes in coin collecting are often discovered by ordinary people who simply took the time to look closely at their change. This is not fiction. Hidden treasure coins like this are still moving through circulation right now, slipping through hands unnoticed, waiting to be discovered. But believe it or not, the next coin on our list is even more shocking, because the next one isn't just rare. It's the kind of coin that makes collectors stop breathing for a moment when they see it. And the tiny detail that makes it valuable? Most people miss it completely, and that mistake could mean accidentally spending a quiet fortune. Next coin, number 4. Now take a deep breath, because the next coin on this list is the kind that slips through people's fingers every single day. No one stops. No one looks twice. It's just another penny, right? That's exactly why this coin is so dangerous to ignore. Because hiding among millions of ordinary cents is the 1951 wheat penny with no mint mark. And when collectors see the right one, they know instantly they might be staring at a hidden treasure worth serious money. Picture the moment. Someone hands you change at a store. A penny drops into your palm. It's old, darker than the modern coins around it, maybe a deep brown color with that antique look time creates. Most people would toss it into a jar or spend it again without thinking. But if that coin happens to be a 1951 wheat penny without a mint mark, you could be holding a silent fortune that collectors desperately want. Let's step back into the year 1951 for a second. America was in a tense period of global history. The Cold War was building pressure around the world, and the Korean War was pulling resources and attention overseas. The American economy was strong, but under constant demand. Factories were busy, industries were expanding, and the U.S. Mint had one job: keep coins flowing through the system so the economy could move. During times like this, coins are produced fast. Dies wear down. Machines run hard. Tiny variations happen without anyone noticing. And sometimes those subtle details turn an ordinary coin into something collectors obsess over decades later. Now here's the fascinating part about this penny. Unlike coins struck in Denver or San Francisco, the 1951 wheat penny without a mint mark came from the Philadelphia Mint. Philadelphia was the main hub of U.S. coin production, and coins from this facility traditionally carried no mint mark at all. That blank space, where a letter might normally appear, is exactly what tells collectors where the coin was born. To most people, that empty space means nothing. But to collectors, it means everything. Hold the coin in your hand and look closely. On the front, you'll see the strong, familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, facing right with calm determination. Above him, the words, "In God We Trust," stretch along the rim. To the side sits the proud word, "Liberty," and beside Lincoln's profile is the date 1951, marking the moment this coin entered American life more than 70 years ago. Turn the coin over, and you'll see the iconic design that gave this series its legendary name. Two tall wheat stalks curve along the left and right sides of the coin, framing the bold words 1 cent and United States of America. At the bottom sits E pluribus unum. It's a design simple enough to overlook, yet powerful enough that collectors recognize it instantly. But the real story lives in the metal and the survival. This penny was struck in the classic American bronze alloy, mostly copper, with small amounts of tin and zinc. When it first left the mint, it would have glowed with bright copper color. Over decades, that color slowly transforms into rich brown tones as the metal reacts with air and time. Collectors actually love that aged look. When a 1951 wheat penny survives in extra fine condition, something special happens. The coin still shows sharp details. Lincoln's hairlines remain strong. His beard is clearly defined. The wheat stalks, on the reverse, still have visible grain lines. The lettering is crisp. You can feel the coin's presence, about 3.11 grams in weight, roughly 19 millimeters across, and only about 1.5 millimeters thick. Small, simple, easy to overlook, yet carrying decades of history. And that's exactly why so many disappeared. Pennies were never treated with care. They were dropped into drawers, scraped across counters, rolled through banks, lost in the dirt, and forgotten in jars for decades. Some were damaged, some were melted, and many were ruined by one common mistake that collectors hate more than anything: cleaning. Listen very carefully to this warning. Never clean this coin. Cleaning might seem harmless, but it actually destroys the microscopic texture on the coin's surface. That natural skin, the soft toning and original finish, is what collectors want. Once it's scrubbed away, the coin instantly loses much of its value. A naturally aged wheat penny tells a story. A polished coin looks artificial and damaged. Original surfaces are the heart of the rare coin world. That's why collectors inspect every tiny detail on a coin, like the 1951 wheat penny with no mint mark. They study the texture of Lincoln's portrait. They look for natural brown toning across the fields of the coin. They examine the wheat stalks for sharpness. Even the color variations in the copper can affect how desirable the coin becomes. And when a truly strong example appears, the collector world reacts. Auction rooms grow tense. Buyers sit quietly, studying the coin under bright lights. Bidding starts carefully, then climbs faster. Because experienced collectors know something important, coins like this don't appear often in high quality, and when they do, serious collectors move quickly. Many of them buy these coins and lock them away for years, sometimes decades. They wait patiently as demand grows and the supply of surviving coins shrinks. That patience is why rare coins continue to shock the market with incredible prices. And that's exactly what has happened with the 1951 wheat penny without a mint mark. In the right condition, with strong extra-fine details and completely original surfaces, this humble penny has reached a market value around $310,000. Think about that for a moment. A coin worth 1 cent, a coin most people would toss into a jar or spend without blinking, can secretly represent life-changing wealth. A tiny copper disc holding a quiet fortune that almost nobody notices. So if you ever see a 1951 wheat penny, stop immediately and check the area under the date. If there's no mint mark at all, take a closer look. Study the color, the detail, the surfaces. If it has that natural antique brown look and strong design features, do not spend this coin. Handle it gently by the edges. Keep it somewhere safe. And if you believe the coin might be special, professional grading is critical. Experts can confirm the coin's authenticity, preserve its condition, and protect its value for the future. Because the biggest discoveries in coin collecting often come from ordinary people who simply looked closer at the coins everyone else ignored. This is not fiction. These hidden treasure coins are still moving through circulation right now, slipping through hands unnoticed, waiting for someone to recognize them. But now, we're about to reach the final coin on this list. And trust me, the last coin is the one that makes collectors' hearts race. Because this final coin has shocked auctions, stunned experts, and created bidding wars that almost nobody outside the collector world even knows about. And if you miss the detail that makes it valuable, you could unknowingly spend a silent fortune. Next, coin number 5. Now we've reached the coin that almost nobody believes when they first hear about it. This is the kind of coin that hides quietly in plain sight. The kind people toss into parking meters, drop into tip jars, or lose under couch cushions without thinking twice. But collectors know the truth. Because the moment the right example appears, the room changes. Conversations stop. Eyes lock onto the coin. And bidding wars begin. I'm talking about the 1956 Roosevelt dime with the D mint mark. A coin that looks ordinary, but can secretly be a hidden treasure worth serious money. Think about how many dimes you've handled in your life. Hundreds, maybe thousands. Most people never look at them. They're small, silver-colored, easy to ignore. But sometimes one of those coins is different. Sometimes one of them carries history, rarity, and a silent fortune hidden inside a tiny piece of metal. Let's step back to the year 1956. America was deep in the middle of the booming 1950s. The country was expanding rapidly. Highways were spreading across the nation, new suburbs were rising, and the economy was roaring with confidence. But behind that prosperity, the US Mint was working non-stop to keep coins circulating through a growing population. Machines ran constantly. Dies wore down quickly. Production pressure was real. When millions of coins are struck under that kind of demand, small details sometimes appear that collectors notice decades later. And this dime was struck at the Denver Mint, identified by the small but powerful D mint mark. That tiny letter is easy to miss, but to collectors, it's a signal. It tells them where the coin was born, and often hints at how it was produced. Look closely at the coin itself. On the front, you see the strong, familiar portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the president whose leadership guided America through some of the most difficult years in its history. His profile faces left, calm and confident, with the words "Liberty" stretching along the rim. Just beneath his chin sits the date 1956, and beside it, you'll often see the motto, "In God We Trust." It's a design millions of Americans recognize instantly, yet very few realize how valuable some of these coins can become. Now flip the dime over. The reverse is simple but powerful. A tall torch of liberty stands in the center, its flame reaching upward. On one side sits an olive branch symbolizing peace. On the other side, an oak branch symbolizing strength and independence. Around the design are the words United States of America and one dime. It's a coin that looks humble, but carries the identity of an entire era. And the metal inside the coin is where the story becomes even more interesting. This dime was struck from the classic pre-1965 90% silver composition, blended with copper for strength. That silver content gives the coin a slightly different weight and feel compared to modern dimes. When you hold it, you can feel that density, about 2.5 grams in weight, roughly 17.9 millimeters across, and just over 1 millimeter thick. Small, thin, easy to overlook, yet packed with history and precious metal. When these coins were first released, they shined bright with a crisp silver glow. But over decades, silver reacts with air and time. The surface slowly transforms, creating soft gray waves, subtle toning, and sometimes beautiful antique shades that collectors absolutely love. A 1956 with D. Roosevelt dime in extra fine condition can show those stunning natural surfaces. Roosevelt's hair details remain visible. The torch lines on the reverse stay strong. The lettering remains crisp. The coin still carries that original presence from the moment it left the mint nearly 70 years ago. And here's the reality most people don't realize. Dimes like this were used constantly. They passed through millions of hands, rolled through banks, rattled inside vending machines, and dropped into countless cash drawers. Many were worn down until the details faded. Others were lost forever. Some were melted when silver prices began to climb decades later. And sadly, many were destroyed by people trying to make them look better. Cleaning a coin might seem harmless, but it's one of the worst things you can do. So listen carefully. Never clean this coin. Cleaning removes the original silver surface and wipes away the natural toning that collectors want to see. That delicate skin of the coin is proof of authenticity and age. Once it's gone, the value can collapse instantly. A naturally aged silver dime is beautiful. A polished one looks damaged to serious collectors. Original surfaces are everything in the rare coin world. That's why collectors study every tiny detail on a coin, like the 1956 with D. Roosevelt dime. They look at the mint mark. They examine the strike quality. They study Roosevelt's hair and the torch lines. Even the subtle shades of gray toning can influence how desirable the coin becomes. And when a truly strong example appears on the market, something fascinating happens. The auction room grows tense. Experienced collectors know that opportunities like this are rare. Bidding begins slowly, then climbs quickly as collectors compete. Some of them have waited years to add the right coin to their collection. When the moment arrives, they move fast. Many of these coins are quietly locked away by collectors who refuse to sell. They sit in private collections for years, sometimes decades. As demand keeps rising and the number of surviving coins keeps shrinking, their value grows stronger. That's exactly why the 1956 with D. Roosevelt dime, when preserved in exceptional condition with natural silver surfaces, has reached a market value around $288,000. Yes, a coin worth only 10 cents in circulation can secretly hold life-changing wealth. A tiny silver disc that most people ignore, hiding a silent fortune. So if you ever come across a 1956 Roosevelt dime, stop and check carefully for that D mint mark. Look at the surface. Look at the detail. If the coin still shows strong features and natural gray toning, treat it with extreme care. Do not spend this coin. Hold it only by the edges. Store it somewhere safe. And if you believe you've discovered a true survivor, professional grading is critical. Experts can authenticate the coin, preserve its condition, and confirm its place in the rare coin market. Because sometimes the biggest fortunes are hiding in the smallest places, quietly waiting for someone observant enough to notice. And that brings us to something important. The 5 coins you just saw, the Roosevelt dimes and wheat pennies from this list, may look like ordinary pocket change. But as you've just discovered, these coins can hide serious money, silent wealth sitting unnoticed in jars, drawers, and pockets all across the country. People spend them every single day. They drop them into vending machines. They hand them to cashiers. They lose them between couch cushions. All without realizing they might be letting go of a hidden treasure. So from now on, slow down when you see old coins. Look closely at dates. Check for mint marks. Study the surfaces, because one small detail can change. And remember, never clean these coins, never rush to spend them, and always consider professional grading if something looks special. Because the next rare coin discovery might not happen in a museum. It might happen in someone's pocket change. And who knows? The next silent fortune could already be sitting in your house right now. So before you leave this video, go check your coins. Look in your jars, your drawers, your car, your wallet. Because one small coin, one tiny detail could change everything. Subscribe to Hidden US Coins for more rare coin discoveries, hidden treasures in circulation, and shocking coin values that most people never notice.